football program had kind of been an up and down phase, and really at the time when we were hiring, the sport that was really getting a lot of publicity in our town was this boys basketball program. And we had had good football teams and we'd had some success, but not the consistency of success that we'd been hoping for. And so when Coach Busen, who did a fabulous job for us, decided that it was time for him to retire as a coach, we really knew that it was an opportunity for us to really get some input from our community and to really decide what were going to be the next steps for Cedar Springs football and where were we going to go.
Did a lot of research before applying for the job, and maybe things that people wouldn't necessarily think. Did a lot of research on the community and saw that 2 of the 6 fastest growing townships by economic growth and population growth were inside the district of Cedar Springs. Looked at the facilities, looked at the student demographic, test scores, free and reduced lunch population, and then obviously recent football history to make a decision to determine that it was a desirable spot. But I think just doing my homework and looking at the community and getting a vibe that this was a football community really made this a desirable spot to land.
So the process that we really moved into that with hiring was we did a lot of focus groups. We met with parents, we met with coaches, we met with athletes, and really gathered some data around what those groups were really looking for and hoping for as Cedar Springs football moved into a new era. And so we posted the football job actually knowing that we didn't have a teaching job to go along with it. And so it was just the varsity football job. We were a little nervous that, hiring a football coach without a teaching job, what kind of candidates were we going to get, and really honestly got a really good pool of candidates for that position. We had a committee together that we put together for that interview process. There was about 10 people on that interview committee. Again, we really tried to get different stakeholders involved in that. And we interviewed 4 different coaches for that job. I'll still never forget the day of the interview. There was a terrible storm. I was a little nervous that Coach Kapolka wasn't going to be able to make it down from Manistee, but he drove through the weather and made it there. I'll tell you this, from the minute he walked into the interview and then when he left, everyone in that group was impressed. He had a plan. He was ready for a change in his career. He was the front runner from the committee's decision about what we needed at Cedar Springs football to take us to the next steps.
It was a spot that was going to fit my personality. It was a spot that was going to fit the style of coaching that I have and the way that I wanted to do things. It's a very hard-working, blue-collar community, and that's the type of person that I am, and that's the way that I coach. So the first impression was really good. Great administration, Ron Bearwald and Otto Matson and Ann Costas, very welcoming. Knew right off the bat that this was a good spot to be in, and just was really excited to get started.
The problem was I didn't have a teaching job to offer Coach Kapolka. I just had a coaching job. And as all of you know, Coach Kapolka is a fabulous teacher and really prides himself as an educator and what he does in the classroom for kids. And so I was hesitant that might be the thing that turned him away from us. And so I remember going through the whole process, background checks, all of that, and knew that Gus was our top candidate and who I wanted to offer that job to. Made the phone call and lots of great conversations. I remember meeting him again. He drove back down, meeting him up at the school, walking around with him. He really looked at me and said that even though we didn't have a teaching job, he was going to take a risk and give us 1 year of coaching football with the hopes that a teaching job would open up. And we were ecstatic because we knew we wanted him as a football coach. And as you know, fate always has a way of working out, and hiring Coach and that would have been in January, February, March time, and by April we did have a teaching job that opened up in his area of teaching, and so we were able to call Coach up and share with him that we also had a teaching job for him. And so it really, he took a risk on us to have some faith that things would work out, and we took a risk on Gus. I will name that there were some internal candidates that applied for that varsity job, and they were great candidates, and they had been in our system, and they had proven that they were really, really great football coaches. And so that was, and the input we had gathered from some of our stakeholders really shared that they wanted us to continue to stay with some of our current staff. And so, it was a risky, it really wasn't risky. It was kind of going outside of maybe what everybody was hoping for or expecting. We offered that job to an external candidate instead of an internal candidate, and kind of took a risk on Gus. And I will still name to this day, and I appreciated Gus even more and respected him even more, that he knew that without those internal candidates that had applied and wanted to be in that program, if they weren't on his coaching staff, he was not going to be successful. And so I give those coaches that didn't get the job but were internal, I've always said that they really are the glue that brought our program together. They believed in Gus, and they believed in his system, and they got all of our people that were, our current people that were here really, because they believed in Gus, others believed in Gus. And so he really embraced them, and they embraced Gus, and they've been a huge, the sustainability of his coaching staff and the longevity he has with his coaches has really allowed him and his team and his coaches to do some really great things here at Cedar.
Well, I think the plan was just to change the vision. The thing that I think people maybe forget and get lost in the translation is the program was not in bad shape. Brian Busen left this program in really good shape with recent success, recent playoff appearances. This was not a situation like, say, in 2004 when I went to Manistee and they had not won a game in like 3.5 years and the program was at rock bottom. There were already things in place here. There were some guys on staff that I kept. The players that were here, we had good players, we had committed players, and it was just a matter of changing the vision and basically saying that the bar has kind of been set here. We're gonna raise that bar, and we're gonna keep raising it as we go.
I've just always had the utmost respect for the coaches that stuck around, and also a ton of respect for Gus for embracing them. Gus has always done a wonderful job of embracing Cedar Springs and some of the traditions we have, but then also really wanting to make his own traditions and really bring some of his dreams and goals to Cedar Springs. And it's been really exciting to watch him over the last, decade, just really bring a group of people together and bring a community together, and use football as his avenue to do that. He was a leader right from the get-go as far as leading our athletic program. And as the athletic director, I really value the conversations that Gus and I would have around his vision for the program. He was always really clear around what he was going to do, what supports he needed to get it done, what role he'd appreciate me playing in there. And one of the things that I really always have valued about Gus is that he just sees football, it's not just a sport that our kids play on Friday night. It's an opportunity to teach life lessons. It's an opportunity for our team to come together, our community to come together. He just always understood that athletics is bigger than just the game. And that was a core value I held as an athletic director. And so working with Gus as the athletic director, he taught me a lot about leadership. He taught me a lot about bringing people together. And I just always really felt there was just some really great mutual respect between the two of us, and not just around football and athletics, but around teaching and around education and around just inspiring other people.
So we got a football team. You guys have heard of it or not, but we have a football team that's in first place in the OK Bowl. I also read the newspaper earlier this week. They're the 10th ranked team in the state in Division III in the AP Bowl. lost just 5 times in Red Hawk Stadium. In the last 4 years, in that stadium, we have lost just once. And in the 101-year history of Cedar Springs football, we have never lost a home playoff game. So the question is, how are we able to be that good when we walk out of that tunnel to hell's bells at 7 o'clock? I'll tell you what the answer is right now. We don't have the best student section in the OK Conference. We don't have the best student section in West Michigan. We got the best student section in the United States of America. So tonight at 7 o'clock, we're going to start rocking and rolling on that field, and we're going to be out there together. One school, all Red Hawks. Can I get one more? Woo! Great day to be a Red Hawk.
Cedar Springs football means the world to me. It kind of taught me a lot of life lessons over the years, and growing up through the program, I started in the 6th grade, and just growing up through the program, growing up with the coaches, the same coaches over the years, it taught me a lot of life lessons, and it taught me how to work through tough times and how to be stronger, and I'm stronger because of it now.
I think that's changed over time. If you would have asked me that before my kids were born, it probably was a bigger aspect of my life. It's still very important to me, but it's not as important as my children and my wife and my family. But it's a big component of me. I mean, it's a great deal of time. It's a lot of effort, but it's also a lot of fun, and I enjoy doing it.
For me, to be a part of the Cedar Springs football organization, it just means a lot. Like, I spent most of my childhood on Friday nights in the fall, coming to the games, cheering on the team, and then to grow up and actually be a part of it, it just means a lot for me and for this community.
Being a part of the Cedar Springs program means a lot to me because our coaching staff is really experienced and good. We have a lot of athletes, and just like the atmosphere, like Cedar Springs travel is really heavy, and like the Rockford game, like 9,000 people there, just really good atmosphere, and just like not a lot of people get that chance, so it's really good.
Over the past 4 years of football, we've had some pretty good accomplishments for the Cedar Springs program. My freshman year, I was on JV, and we won the conference, and then when I was a sophomore, I was on varsity, and we also won the conference that year. This year, our senior year, we were district champs. We beat South Christian Muskegon for the first time. We set a school record for points scored in the season. The
goal of our program is we're going to compete for championships. Like, I'm a competitive person. I played my son in chess last night. He beat me for the first time. Didn't like it. So I want to compete. I'm a competitor. I'm going to compete in all things all the time. But the second thing is I want to develop men. I want to help develop the boys in my community to be better people, to be better husbands, better fathers, better citizens down the road. I think that's the overall goal of education, and why you get in it in the first place is, you're a washed-up jock and you need an outlet for that competitive juice. So coaching provides that, but at the same time, you're also able to provide a great service to your community and hopefully be impactful in the lives of the kids that are in your program.
I would say there's a couple of specific coaches that helped me get to where I am now, such as Coach Dukes, the defensive back coach, Coach Johnson, the running back coach, and Coach Kapolka, the head coach. I feel like I have a really tight bond with all the coaches, but me being a defensive back, I've been with Dukes a lot, and Dukes has taught me how to be a better person and how to work hard, and he's also taught me all the skills that I have now. So Dukes, I've been around him a lot, and Kapolka, obviously the head coach, he runs the offense. Me being quarterback this year, I was around him a lot, and we were always talking about what plays and how the players were doing. And Johnson, everybody has a close bond with him. He's a funny guy.
Coach Kapolka's been a mentor for me throughout my high school career. He's meant a lot to me. He showed me what it means to work hard for something you want and to be dedicated and put all your heart into something, and I couldn't ask for a better coach to play for these last 4 years.
Coach Kapolka means a lot to me because he shaped me to be the man I am today. to be respectful, to be a leader, and just to be a good person overall.
I believe Kapolka has helped every single person that's came through this program become a better person, and everybody that's came through the program will say the same thing, that Kapolka pushes them really hard, and sometimes you never know if he likes you or he doesn't like you, but in the end he does like you, and he's just trying to get you to be the better person. And his main goal isn't to make the football team the best football team in the state. His main goal is to make all the kids that come through the program into young men. So if you ask Kapolka, the records obviously they matter to him, but the way the kids come out in the end is what matters most to him. So I believe Kapolka is a great person and a great coach, and he's helped me learn a lot through the past 4 years.
He's a great friend. Somebody that, humble, but carried a lot of weight. Like a guy that when he spoke, it hit. Whereas I say a lot of things, and sometimes they hit and sometimes they don't. When he spoke, there was a lot of gravity to his words. But a humble man, a good man, a great friend, somebody that really dedicated his life to impacting young people in a positive manner, and did it in a lot of different ways, both in the classroom and coaching track and coaching football. So just really great friend, great colleague. When you coach with somebody, you spend more time with the guys in your coaching staff than you do your own families for most of the football season. So you get to be very, very close, especially at the high school level. At the college level, it's a little more transactional, where guys are getting hired and fired at a pretty good rate. Most high school staffs stay together for long periods of time. Coach Martens was the first coach that I hired when I was named head coach. So it had been a long, very productive friendship.
The passing of Coach Martens, it didn't sit well with a lot of people. It was unexpected, and anything that happens with somebody passing away, it obviously is really tough, but if you kind of expect it to be coming, then it makes it a lot easier. But with that, it was just unexpected over the night, and I think it broke a lot of people's hearts on the team, and it made it really hard for people to keep going, keep pushing. But I think because we came together and because we were so close as a team throughout the season, that we were able to push through it. We were able to shut out Kennewa, and just the shutout with Kennewa, it just meant a lot. It almost felt like it was meant to happen, and it was our only shutout of the season, and I think it came at the right time, and I think we were able to do it and keep pushing through that game because we just knew that we needed to play, and that Coach Martens would want us to play.
I had a pretty close relationship with Coach Martens. I'm on the D-line, and he's the D-line coach, so I knew him better than even most of the people in the program. And when that happened, it's just, it tilts your world 180 degrees. Like, it's something so unexpected, and it just broke the entire team's heart. And it really took an entire team effort, us being there for each other to pick each other up from it, and to keep playing and just keep our season strung together. I thank my teammates for being there for me when I needed them, and I was there for them, and we were still able to accomplish great things. The shutout against Kennewa Hills meant a lot for me. It's not often in football that you hold a team to 0 points, and to do that only a couple days after Coach Martin passed away, it just felt like his spirit was there with us, and he was guiding us to that shutout. So that's definitely a moment I'll never forget the rest of my life.
I don't think it had any effect on game outcomes. I think it had an effect on how we approach the season. I know for me personally, the season was not a whole lot of fun. Although we had great success, it was a season of reflection, to look back and start to question maybe some of the decisions that you've made in your life to put so much time and effort into something because you're reminded of your own mortality by an event like that. But with regards to affecting our team, other than the fact that I think it made us appreciate every day a little bit more. So, how do they handle it? I think it's, you hear about the stages of grief, and I think, every member of our team went through those stages at different times, and I just know that, one of the most difficult days of my life was the day that we found out, and I made a decision that nobody inside our program was going to find this information out unless it came out of my mouth, and no one was going to find out on social media or from a rumor or from somebody else. So, we got our guys together in the auditorium and, basically prepared them a little bit and just said that, hey, there's some bad news coming and it's really bad and you need to be prepared for it, and let the team know. And I think the high school here did a great job with our professional support, our social workers and counselors. But I think, our team did a great job of rallying and coming together and being there to support one another because, everyone's going to deal with that grief differently. We had some guys that obviously were very much affected, especially the guys in Coach Martin's position group, the D linemen especially. But I thought it was interesting to see how some of our guys that have experienced that loss even closer to home, say a parent, were able to comfort a lot of the guys, because for teenage boys, you always believe you're immortal. And for a lot of our guys, this is the first time they've ever experienced death that close up. So for them, I think it was a shock, and for other guys that have dealt with it, they were great rocks to provide support to other guys, and we moved forward together. And there were days that were not good days, where our seniors were like, hey, we can't practice today. Today's not a good day for us. And you just, as a coach, you just have to listen to your guys and try to provide the support that you can to move forward and heal. But I've said it a couple different times that I've had other groups that I've coached that I think this would have broken them. It would have broken their spirit, broken their will. This group handled it. I think I could not imagine a group handling a situation like that better and still being able to go out and perform at a high level.
Coach Martin's passing really affected the team because I think it brought us closer, gave us more bond and more brotherhood.
Coach Martens. So, Coach Martens, I gotta stop for a second, sorry. Let me get my thoughts together. One of the things that Coach Kapolka, I think, not only taught me but continues to teach everyone else is about your legacy, and that what you do today is impacting and building your legacy for when you're not here. And so when I think about Coach Martens, he's one of the people, when I think about his legacy, Kevin was the kind of guy that always was so thoughtful about other people. He listened. He would find the time to reach out to you, even when you didn't know you needed it. He would make a phone call. He would send you a text. He'd put his arm around you. He genuinely cared that everybody else was okay. And he really used his classroom as a way to connect with kids. And then outside of the classroom, he dedicated a lot of his time and energy into athletics. And, he coached basketball and football and track. And if there was an opening in volleyball, we probably could have convinced him to be the volleyball coach. He just really saw that at the end of the day, that extension of his classroom was the athletic field.
Father, from Kent City to Cedar Springs, Coach Martens has been on the football field a majority of his life and has impacted many lives on the field and in the classroom. first quarter score, 42.